Okay.
And I think that means we're live on YouTube.
Too. Hello. So we were just saying hello to all the different social channels. We're also over on TikTok live right now. So TikTok or YouTube, maybe Facebook. Sometimes we do that too. Wherever you're joining us, welcome. I'm Bailey from Glowforge.
And I'm Nick from Glowforge.
We are right here in downtown Seattle, Washington. It is a gorgeous spring day.
It is unseasonably
Cherry
nice
blossoms,
right now.
All the pollen. Excuse
For
me,
a little sniffles.
Yeah. So it's beautiful. And we are doing a live stream today. We are live. So if you are on one of those platforms live with us here today on a Tuesday morning, March 19th, you can ask questions live during the stream. And we've got Glowforge experts available to help. So we've got, I think Kate's over on TikTok. We've got Michelle over on YouTube. Yeah, we've got you covered.
And we will try and answer as many of those questions live on air as well.
Yeah.
So send them through. They'll be relayed to us, and we'll try and get to as many as we can live. And if we can demonstrate things to help answer those questions, we'll do that too.
So what we're here today mostly to discuss is our newest addition to the Glowforge family. This is the Glowforge Spark, and we're actually just in pre-sale mode with this right now. So only a few, lucky few, a couple influencers, a couple of us here at the office have gotten to use it, but they are on pre-sale right now. So if you're looking to get a Glowforge Spark, now through April 4th, they are on pre-sale special for $5.99. After that, they'll be $6.99. So you can save $100. And I mean, if you've been following Glowforge for a while, you'll know that that is quite a much lower price than our original models. So we definitely wanted to make sure that you go into your Glowforge ownership experience, understanding like what the differences between the machines and what they can do and all the things they can make. So we're going to cover a bunch of that here today about the Glowforge Spark.
And we have a Glowforge Spark behind us as well. Right now it's printing. We're going to demo it later on so you can see it working and in action. And we also have our other models here too, so we can show you a brief overview of the differences and you can physically see them next to each other.
Exactly. So I'm looking at the chat on YouTube at least, and I see people tuning in from all over the United States. I don't see any international yet. Sometimes, wait, nope, Toronto. She got me. I see the Canadian flag. Alabama, Texas, Ohio. So very cool. And I'd love to know in the chat too, if you are joining, whether you already have a Glowforge or you are looking for more information to inform your decision on getting one. But either way, ask questions. And today we thought we'd kind of organize this with the top 7 things we think you should know about Glowforge Spark. So Nick and I kind of put together our list of 7 to go through. And during it, we will touch on, all these important points. We'll definitely show you the Spark printing in action. Is it printing? No,
it is printing right now.
Is it?
Actually, yes, it's printing right now.
Do we want to show that real quick before we get started?
There you go.
Yeah, so that's the one sitting behind us. I think it's printing on some proof grade plywood right now.
That's a piece of light basswood plywood.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, so we'll get into the ins and outs of materials, but proof grade is the line of material that we sell. No, you don't have to use proof grade materials with your Glowforge. Lots of other options, but there it is in the flesh. All right, so the number 7 thing. Well, I'm going to make this confusing for myself because I labeled it the other way. Well, the one that we will
can start from
with,
1, right? I mean,
the number 1 thing.
The first thing we will tell you.
Yes, is the Glowforge Spark is a diode laser, which sounds a little in the weeds, a little scientific to get into. At this point, we know when you're just getting to know the Spark, but it's important to understand the difference between the different Glowforge printers, right? So our original Glowforge printers, the Basic and Plus and Pro, those are now what we call our Pro series. They are CO2 lasers, meaning that they have a laser tube, a glass laser tube inside the laser that's filled with CO2 gas, and that is what powers the laser beam.
I'll show you that right now while Bailey's talking as well.
We've got a Pro over here.
So here we have a Pro. I actually just put the Glowforge Aura on top of the Pro as well, just so people can see at a glance the size difference here. I'm going to take it off. I have to put that down, sorry. So I can show you the inside of the Glowforge Pro and that laser tube that Bailey was just talking about.
Okay, so laser type number 1. Again, this is the CO2 laser, so different than the diode. This is not what's in the Spark.
Absolutely. This is not what's in the Spark. But this is what gives this machine its speed and power. And when you're considering a performance series printer like the Pro or the Plus, this is really what you're getting. And it is this glass tube right here. Now, the physical size of that tube dictates how much power this machine has, and that is why it is physically bigger. If we made that tube smaller to make the machine smaller, it wouldn't have as much power. But basically, we need this to bounce electricity back and forth to create a laser beam that comes out of here that then cuts and engraves your material. Now, in contrast, if we go over to the Aura, and I'm just going to get down on the floor
gosh.
here
Okay,
just
I
to
was
show.
like, are you going to pick it up with the phone in your hand?
I thought about it for a second. I was like, that's not going to go well for anybody, is it? Now, you'll notice inside here, there is no laser tube at all because all of the laser technology is inside this little black box right here. And you can kind of think about this like the laser that's in a CD or a DVD player. It basically comes out from underneath there. It shoots down through these rails, hits your material, and basically does the same thing. It cuts and engraves your material with laser light. It just can't do it quite as fast as the Glowforge Plus or Pro. But, you know, the benefit to that is a much smaller unit. And if I bring this over here, you can see the spark as well. Even smaller still, and super light. I probably could pick that spark up with one hand. I'm not going to try, just in case. But it is way, way, way smaller.
Look at that view we're getting. I like that. The insert.
That was kind of fun too, actually. Yeah, I thought that was
fun.
good.
POV, you're an iPhone. So what Nick just showed us again was the difference between the Pro or Plus machine, which is a CO2 laser, and that's our professional series. And they're faster, they're bigger, and they do have a little bit different material capabilities, just slightly. And we'll get into that in another of our top 7. And that versus what we're calling the personal series, the Aura, which is our laser that came out in July of this year. The Aura is $11.99, and then the brand new Spark that came out this month and is currently on pre-sale, and that's for $5.99 on pre-sale, $6.99 later. So the diode laser, mostly about the size. That's the big thing. The size and the speed are the two.
And the weight, I would say too.
Yes, the portability.
I mean, if you think about the Pro, you need a dedicated space to keep that.
Yeah.
It's a great machine, but you need a table and it's going to stay on that table because it takes 2 people to move that thing.
You know, and our point number 2 is, I just realized we're already saying it, it's our smallest Glowforge ever, which is actually a huge benefit because I remember when we launched Glowforge Pro and Basic and everything way back in the day, back in 2015. I remember a lot of people's concern is like, where am I going to put this thing?
Absolutely.
And while the Glowforge is more compact in many ways than a lot of other similar CO2 lasers out there, it's still a big, huge machine that you have to store in your house. So.
We know a lot of people are coming from machines like the Cricut, like blade cutters, and a lot of people are used to taking those, putting it on the table, and then putting it back again once they're finished.
Exactly.
And finally, with Glowforge Spark, you can do that. You can take that machine, pick it up, one person can move it with no problem at all, and you just tuck it away until it's time to use it again, which is super handy. And I mean, I am definitely an advocate of the Pro. I use my Pro at home all the time, have done for 8 years. I love it. But the Spark, the convenience of being able to just pop it out whenever you need it, I'm really impressed.
It's nice. Yeah. So number one, it's a diode laser. Number 2, it's our smallest Glowforge ever. The cutting area on the bed is 8.5 by 11, so like a standard sheet of paper. And the maximum size of a piece of material that you can fit inside of it is a 12 by 12. So if you are a proof grade material user, proof grade again is the ones we make. So we make a line of wood, leather, acrylic, things like that. We do make 12 by 12 sheets that were designed for the for the Aura. We'll have a line for the Spark that's more like an 8 by 10 or 8 by a slightly smaller version. Math, I didn't write this down, sorry.
Shall I show them? Would it be helpful?
Oh, Nick's even got one here.
Yeah, I prepped a few so I could show everybody.
Those 12 by 12s will fit inside is the point I was getting to. If you're getting 12 by 12 materials at a hardware store or something, you can still use those.
Absolutely. And likewise with paper products too. If you go to your local craft store and buy paper or cardstock, that often comes in a 12 by 12. That fits in there perfectly.
Yep.
So just to give an example, this is a 12 by 12 sheet of proof grade green acrylic. So this is what we made specifically for the Glowforge Aura, but this will fit inside your Glowforge Spark, which is super handy.
You just wouldn't be able to reach every corner of it in the same print. Like you can print something here and here in the same job.
Exactly. And handily, I actually made these last night.
They're so cool.
We'll show. We're gonna print the trees later. These letters I made last night at basically the full size of the Glowforge Spark bed. So you can see if I lay that on there like that, this is how much of that material you could use up in one print. So you could cut all of that out, and then you could take that material and just kind of flip it around like that and then use the rest of it. So you're not wasting any material at all. You just are limited to that 8 by 11 size, which is still pretty big. I mean, it's as big as my head, right? I think I have a normal size head. That's
I didn't want to bring it up. Here, can we show on the overhead a close up on this guy?
Do we have our tree? Where is it? There's our tree. So,
the tree goes right in here. It
looks nicer with the tree.
Ta-da! So this is just a beautiful inlay. This is a couple different materials. It looks like we've got yellow acrylic, green acrylic, orange acrylic, white acrylic.
Actually, that's not white acrylic. So
I was like, wait a minute, we haven't even gotten there yet. But
Is this a nice segue into point
yes,
number 3?
it is.
So all of the Glowforge models work with hundreds of materials, hundreds and hundreds of materials, like some that you wouldn't maybe even consider putting inside, like a grain of rice or an avocado and things like this. Bailey did mention with the diode technology, there are some limitations, and that's to do with the specific laser that comes out of the machine. We won't go into the science. If you want to look it up, feel free.
It's actually a different color laser beam, a different type of light that comes out. Yeah, there you go, wavelength.
And unfortunately, it passes right through some materials, like clear material. So Glowforge Spark and Glowforge Aura, unfortunately, can't cut clear materials. They also can't cut white materials. But I kind of cheated here a little bit. This material that you see here that actually looks white is some of our HTV transfer material, which is like the cricket material that you would use in your blade cutter, you know, for making t-shirts and things like that.
So a vinyl alternative.
A vinyl alternative.
Not a vinyl. Cannot use vinyl in a laser. I want to say that really clearly. A vinyl alternative made for lasers.
Excellent point. Yeah. And all I did was iron that on to a piece of sacrificial material. I had a scrap of plywood, and then I cut that out with the Glowforge Spark. And so it looks like white acrylic. It's still got that gloss because that HTV material is glossy, but this actually is not acrylic.
So when we talk about the difference between materials that Glowforge Pro and Plus, the CO2 lasers, versus Glowforge Aura and Spark can do, the main difference is that white or clear acrylic. And we know that that's a big deal for people. There's lots of trendy and cool crafts that use that. So it's important to know that before you choose your Glowforge. But there are some workarounds, things like that. We also have a bunch of Aura owners who have figured out some hacks. And the easiest one I've seen is basically finding a white appearing, or say light pink or light yellow or something. Those can be tricky to cut through with the Aura or with the diode laser, I should say. But you can actually buy acrylics that have a core of a different color. So like an acrylic that's white on the outside but black on the inside, that is something that you can cut through with the Aura. So if you can find those kind of more specialty materials, you're gonna have to take a little more time sourcing them and thinking about the settings and testing and stuff. But there are workarounds if that's something that you want. That's really clever. Love that. So yeah, our number 3 is that it works with hundreds of materials, even acrylic. Last time we did a Spark stream, we got tons of questions about acrylic because it's a really cool material. And so we thought we'd show you acrylic cut live today, but Nick actually prepped a few different things. What do we want to
let's go ahead and show off some of these bits and pieces that we have here, and we can talk about some of the techniques and things that we use, and then we'll go into a demo. And I actually have a tip / trick / hack that I used for creating these particular letters here, which some of you might find really useful.
So when we were talking about these before, I got to the white acrylic and was like, what is this? It's not white acrylic. Again, it's the HTV material over a different material to create the white effect. But also on here is wood. So we've got, it looks like a maple plywood or a hardwood plywood. Which one? Those
are plywood. Yes.
Okay, so a maple plywood and a walnut plywood. So this is a bunch of different materials, and it just looks incredible.
And I basically just cut them out and puzzle piece them together. Now, I will say the artwork that I found here was free. And I found it, I should have known this years ago. I really should have done. But if I just show you my computer really fast, I found that if you go to the Adobe stock website, they have a free category. And you can search for anything in there. So camping was an example that I was looking for. You can filter by vectors right here. And all of this stuff that's on here is all free to download. And you can create cool stuff like this with it. Now, of course, if you want to use it for, oh, look, there you can see the letters that I used right there in the middle.
Oh, cute.
So I just took that file and expanded it and printed out all those different pieces in different colors like you saw there, and then kind of jigsaw puzzled them together.
Okay, so is this meant to be someone's name, like Ren? That's
Ren,
what I've,
absolutely,
okay.
yes, yeah. And, you know, I could, if I'd had more time, I could take the same idea and create my own letters in this style.
Yeah.
But, you know, we run these things pretty efficiently.
It was from the name Nature. You could have gone with Nat. You could have
gone
with...
There we go, exactly.
Gosh.
Yeah, yeah. But there we go.
Like Wordle.
The cool thing about Adobe Stock as well is if you want to use these things for commercial purposes, you can license them too. So you can buy a license for this artwork, and then you can probably use it in your promotional material, and you may even be able to resell it. Anyway, cool place that I found. That
okay, so he made those, but also, okay, so 2 different versions of the cup topper.
We might have to take the lid off that.
So is it going to be too tall?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh yeah. So see how though it fits over the straw.
And we know these are pretty trendy right now, so we're playing about with them.
Oop.
If you stick it on the table on that.
Oh yeah,
tape,
sorry,
yeah.
they already focused the cameras and I'm messing it all up. So this is
You're good.
2 pieces of acrylic and it looks like a little piece of wood for the paddle.
Yeah. And this one I actually drew from scratch. This is an original design, so to speak. And here's another one where I took some little details.
A little backpack.
I think they turned out really nice.
Oh
I was really
gosh.
happy with them.
They're so cool.
And they're just, again, puzzle pieced together with a few different colors. You can use whatever you have. These are great scrap busting projects too. I mean, if you have little scraps of material left behind, you can make a million of these keychains with those scraps.
Yeah, and then with obviously the same design, instead of the topper, you did the keychain.
That's it. Yeah.
So cute.
And some of you might be wondering about those detailed lines that are on there. You can see on the canoe, for example, there's a yellow line. Now that's actually a score line. That's a feature of the laser that's built into the software. And it basically means the laser will try and cut the material, but with less power. So it doesn't go all the way through. It just leaves a really distinct, crisp line on the surface. And then I brought these out so people could see this time. I use these, which are called fill paint sticks. This is a particular brand that I like, but there's tons of different options out there. But it's basically like an oil paint that doesn't really dry, and you just scrub it into that engraving, wipe away the excess, and it leaves that cool contrasting line right there.
Now,
and unless you've got a fingernail in there to dig it out, it's going to stay in there forever.
Right, yeah, it's like in there. Yeah,
it's in there.
The proof grade materials you were showing earlier, they have that coating on them, so that makes doing fill effects like that even easier. Like you could do with paint or there's a couple different, I don't know, gold leaf, things like that you would engrave and then color over the top. And then it goes just into, with the acrylic's a little bit of an exception because you could actually like wipe it off of the acrylic if you didn't have a mask.
Yep.
But wood, not as easy.
Absolutely.
So
and what Bailey's saying is basically making a stencil, right? Take your design, instead of cutting all the way through, cut just this masking tape, peel off the bits that you don't want, apply your paint or your other effects, then peel off the rest of it. And everybody thinks that you have an incredibly steady hand because your paint work is perfect. It's amazing.
Okay, so I'm seeing a question about where can you find a full list of materials that Spark will cut or engrave or score and all that. And we don't actually share a full list of materials for any of the Glowforge printers because it is so long and kind of vast and infinite, which I know is a little confusing. But so when you're thinking about materials to use with the laser, anything that's natural, like woods and cottons and leathers and things like that tend to work real well, but that gets complicated real quickly because there's things that, woods are combined with. We've learned that many places make plywoods by putting glitter into them. And then that's how you can identify the source of the plywood as the type of glitter, or different types of glues and things like that. And because to get consistent results with your laser can be complicated. That's why we created the line of proof grade materials, the woods and the acrylics and the leathers that we have tested and kind of work perfect every time. So they've got the QR code. Your laser recognizes them and prints with preset settings that people like Nick worked on tirelessly.
It's true. We worked really hard to try and give you the best experience.
So you get kind of like this plug and play thing where you put in the material, or Glowforge says, oh great, walnut plywood, we know how to do that. And the print, it goes off without a hitch. But you can also find materials from, craft stores, hardware stores, garage sales, the rock on the beach, that sort of thing. And I would say the internet is really your best friend with working with laser materials. Just the Glowforge community alone, we launched Glowforge back in 2015, 16. People have had these machines for quite a while, and the amount of testing that they've done on everything out there is amazing. So I know last stream people were saying, oh, can I engrave on a license plate? Can I engrave on this other really specific thing? Literally Google that, and there's probably a video of someone doing it and trying it in suggested settings and things like that. So it is a bit of an experimental process if you want to use your own materials, but really limitless material with a few exceptions. There's certain type of plastics that are no for lasers always. There's certain types of like when you get those jeans with the stretch in them and things like that, but.
And it's interesting because some of those things, some of them are you absolute no-nos. You should definitely not cut those with the laser because the gases and things that come off are no good. Other ones just don't work very well. And that's the other side, like the jeans with the stretchy things.
Disappointing.
The results just not that great. So absolutely, do a little Google search before your experiment and just see what other people have done.
And there's, I should mention, there's a lot of great social media groups specifically about Glowforge too. So there's one about if you're looking to get the diode, the Aura or the Spark, there's one that Rachel Timmerman, she's an awesome blogger, influencer. She's got an amazing kind of science background where she like, this is her bread and butter, is to kind of like dig into like, does this material work and how can I make it work better? And so her Facebook group, I believe it's called, I think she's in the chat. Maybe she can throw the link in there. But that group alone is an amazing resource. And that's where I got the tip about the two-tone acrylic from earlier, things like that. So there are resources like that if you're wanting to like go deep with materials, you really, really can and get so much out of this machine. It's just a matter of doing the research and the testing. So.
I thought I knew a lot about these things. And then you go to those groups and you're like, oh, well, I still have a lot to learn.
Exactly. Okay. So that's materials at a high level.
Can I share one quick little?
Oh, and we want to do a print too.
We could do a print.
Yeah.
And I wanted to share this little trick that I've developed. Actually, I say I developed. I've done this a long time. I don't think I was the original person to do this at all.
TM.
But I do think this is really handy. So for those letters that we showed you earlier, they're puzzle pieced together, like we said. And I found over the 8 years that I've been here, one of the hardest things to do when you're creating anything is gluing it together. And it's not that it's hard necessarily, but it's kind of a nuisance. And
I get
messy
glue all over my hands for the next 3 days. So.
And different materials don't glue together very well sometimes, like trying to glue acrylic to wood. Sometimes that can be tricky. You can use a rapid set glue like a CA glue or a super glue, but those can be brittle too. So one of the things that I really like to do with my materials, especially if I'm working with acrylic, is I'll take my proof grade like this, then I'll peel off the back, and I actually put some double-sided tape on the back of here. You can buy this from lots of different places. This is a 3M brand one that I have here, and I just bought it in like a 12 by 12 sheet, and I just cut a piece and stuck it on. You can use all manner of different tapes, but of course, make sure that the laser's safe first, and don't be afraid to reach out to manufacturers like this too. It's in their interest to be able to sell their materials to you, so they're generally very helpful.
Yes.
And then I take my material and stick it in the machine and just cut it out as normal. And then once it comes out, I can just peel off that backing, and I basically have created a sticker. And then I can just stick everything together, which it's really handy for this kind of thing, but it's especially handy if you're doing really detailed work.
Really
you see a lot of people who are using acrylic like this are making like signage and things like that with lots of fine
little
details.
Letters, little menus.
Yeah,
like
exactly. And trying to get those glued in place precisely is a real pain. That
is so smart. And you find it stays in place on the backside, even with the small tiny prints.
Oh yeah,
wow.
Yeah, it works really well for me. There's different grades of this too. I'm not super knowledgeable about it, but places like the Rachel Timmerman Group, I'm sure, have done a lot more testing on this kind of thing than I have. But I know it works, and I use it all the time.
3M stuff is awesome.
So let's do that demo really quick, shall we?
Yes, and then I see a couple other questions coming through.
Perfect. Is there anything we can answer while I get the setup?
There are kind of some unique ones, actually. Like I actually think I've never seen this one before, ever, which is my husband has a sawmill. How does Glowforge cut green wood versus dried? So I assume you mean
like wet wood,
fresh
essentially.
wood. Yeah. That's still got the juices in it and whatnot. We have a fire burning stove in our house now to heat our house, and so I'm familiar with the drying out of the wood and the different ways that it reacts. I have no idea on that though.
So in my experience, I've not done a ton with greenwood, but I have cut things like cedar fence pickets that you buy from the big box lumber stores, and those tend to be quite green. They're often very wet too.
Yes.
And they did work. It worked for me. And also it was pretty thick material, and I was able to get through it. Now, cedar is pretty soft. It's a very soft wood, so it's easy for the laser to get through. And I was using a Glowforge Pro as well. But in short, it did work. Now, your results may vary, though, however, because, of course, if you're cutting a wet material, assuming it's not sopping wet, we don't want to put things that are literally dripping water into your Glowforge, of course. That water is likely to absorb some of the energy from the laser, and that energy is what's used to cut through the material. So what you may find is you have to do multiple passes. Maybe one kind of evaporates some of this material. And I'm kind of hypothesizing here a little bit, but you could do 2 passes or maybe 3 passes to work your way through. And that could work.
You're like cauterizing the inside of the wood now as you go.
Yeah, not quite, but yeah, I see the idea.
That is a really unique question. I want to hear some experiments on that, how they go.
Yeah, is there anybody in the chat who's tried it, maybe, who could share?
And then I also see a question about metal or sterling silver specifically. That is not a capability of a CO2 or a diode laser. Unfortunately, if you're wanting to get into metals, you're going to want to get a higher powered, like a fiber laser, or there are also some techniques for engraving metal where you will get less of an engrave, like it's not removing material so much like you might be picturing, but more like a discoloration of the metals that you can do depending on the type of metal. Like, for example, stainless steel is one that you can engrave like You could engrave like a photo or a poem on stainless steel, but or
I suppose we can show this up.
beautiful knife. And this one you didn't treat at all, right? This one
No,
you
I just
stuck
threw
right
that in there. Yeah. And I'll be honest, I meant to try and follow up with this and figure out exactly why this worked so well. This is a steel knife. I'm not sure if it's stainless steel, and it's got kind of a brushed surface to it, so it's slightly textured. But I just put this into the Glowforge Spark and set it as a pretty low speed and the highest power will go. And it made this really beautiful, high contrast, very, permanent mark. It's not going to wash off. It's not going to fade over time, as far as I know, and that worked perfectly. But I don't think it works with silver.
Right.
Now, one thing you could do, if we have time and if you want to know about this, because I played with some of these ideas. If anybody's out there etched copper before, made PCBs, things like that, what you can do is take your silver piece, spray paint it to create basically a resist.
Yep.
Then etch away the spray paint in your design, and then use your normal etching solution like ferric chloride if it was copper. I'm not quite sure what you use with silver.
Yep.
And then you can eat into your material, wash or abrade away the spray painted surface that you have, and then apply there's a term for it, the patinating material that goes into the engrave that makes it black and contrasty. But that works pretty good. And you can still get super intricate detail because you're using the laser to engrave away the paint. So
there's lots of different techniques, work around sometimes, but there are some materials that are just, not the right type of laser. And if you are joining us, I know we've been going for about 25 minutes now. We are doing a print now. We're about to print on acrylic this is the new Glowforge Spark. This is our newest laser. It came out just this month. It's on pre-sale, in fact. So if you want to jump on the pre-sale, you can save $100. So it's on pre-sale for $5.99. After that, it'll be $6.99. And it is kind of the little kid sister laser to our Glowforge Aura, which came out this summer. They're both diode lasers. Compared to the Aura, it is smaller, a little slower. We didn't talk about that, but that is one of the big differences between those two machines. If you're deciding between the two, the Aura is faster than the Spark. And if you've had an Aura for a while, you might have noticed we actually made it faster recently too. So a great thing about Glowforge is that we can improve it remotely with the software. So as you own your Glowforge, new features, new capabilities, new speeds become available to you, which is really awesome. So we've already been improving the Aura since we launched it this summer.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, let's dive in here. Apologies to those of you who are familiar with this, but I think this is helpful for those who maybe haven't seen what the software looks like in the past. And what we're looking at right here on my screen is a view inside our Glowforge Spark, essentially. Every Glowforge has a camera in the lid, and when you open and close the lid, it takes a picture of what's inside, and that is what we're looking at here. This is the back side of that piece of green acrylic I just showed you with the double-sided tape on it. Nice. And here is my design. And the really cool thing about this software, or one of them, because there's many, is it's a drag and drop situation. If you've used PowerPoint or anything similar to that, if you're used to word processing, you will be successful with this. It is super easy to use. And I'm just going to drag my design, this tree that I want to use to complete these letters that we showed you earlier on, into place exactly where I want it to print, which is right down here at the bottom. Now, we can also see on this material that we don't have one of those QR codes that we mentioned. And that's because I peeled off the wrong side of my material when I was putting my double-sided tape on, which was very silly of me, but never mind. Because all we have to do is go to our materials menu here and start typing the material I want to use. So green, and I've got my eco-thin green acrylic here, and I can select that right there. Now, this is really cool as well if you're experimenting with your own materials. Let's say you have a cutting board that you want to engrave, and you know that's made out of maple. We don't have a maple cutting board setting in here, unfortunately, but we do have a maple hardwood setting. So you can type maple, take a look down the list, find something in here. Let's do maple hardwood. Medium poplar hardwood is here. It looks like maple's not installed on this particular machine right now, but you can select that material and then use those settings and iterate from them. So you can do a little test, see how it goes, and then tweak them. And if you like what you see, you can save it too. So you have your own custom settings for later. And here's my design in place, like I said, drag and drop situation. I'm also just going to mention really briefly these steps on the left-hand side. They basically represent all the different elements in my design. And you can see up here on my artboard, I have a bunch of other pieces that make up those letters. I don't need them right now. I don't want them to print. So I just drag them off the edge so they're out of the way for later. This particular one is in the right spot. And all I need to do is just check by clicking on it that the corresponding step, you see how that one's in a light purple here, a light pink, that it's set to proof grade cut. And that is it. In a nutshell, that's all you have to do. And then once that's all done, we press print. That gets sent up to the cloud. The machine does a bunch of processing, measures some things, does a bunch of calculations, basically removes the possibility of human from creating something, which is really, really nice. I don't know if any of you have used an old laser before or other machines similar to this. The human is normally the problem when anything goes wrong. And we tried to do away with as much of that as we could with cameras and sensors and cool technology that we built into the products. And once that's prepped and analyzed, it's going to figure out exactly how long it's going to take to print, and it's going to send that information down to our screen to set our expectations about how long things are going to take. And then, as soon as that's ready, the button's going to flash, and we know that we're ready to print.
You can hear it doing stuff.
Yeah, it's whirring away in the background.
Measuring step.
Yeah, and here it is, 4 minutes 20.
Perfect.
So let's go ahead and kick that off while we keep answering some questions. I'm just going to pull this back 1 second. So you can see we've got the button on here. This is flashing. It's indicating that our print is ready. Now, we do also have a Glowforge air filter attached to this too.
Yes, it's a good time to mention that.
Yeah, I'm just going to pull out a little bit here so you can see. So there's our Glowforge Spark. There's our Aura on the floor. And then this is our Personal Series air filter. It is about the size of a recycling trash can. It's actually quite attractive, I would say. And it connects via Bluetooth to Glowforge Aura or Glowforge Spark so that when you send a print, it knows when it needs to turn on. And you can see, I think there, if I get the angle right, that button is also flashing.
It's very cute how they're like blinking at each other.
It's really nice. Yeah, it works great. And so as soon as I press this button right here, the filter itself will turn on. It will start to evacuate all of the kind of smoke and schmutz that comes off when you're cutting, and then it will automatically turn off again when it's finished. Really convenient.
Yeah, so an air filter or some type of ventilation, some method of ventilating your laser is always necessary when using a laser cutter. Otherwise, your room will smell like laser, and nobody wants that. So yeah, you want to use.
And some of those fumes are not nice for the body either. You don't want to be breathing those in.
At home, I vent mine. My Pro, actually, I have a Pro and an Aura at home, and I vent my Pro out the window. But then I do have the Aura air filter, and it is quite nice.
It's really
especially
nice.
how they pair with Bluetooth. That's a really, really lovely feature. So.
And it's a quiet system too.
Yeah.
And basically, if you have power and Wi-Fi, you can use this situation anywhere.
Yeah.
You could be in the basement in the middle of a tower block with no access to windows or anything, and you could print. Or you could be in the middle of the woods. You could tether to your phone for your Wi-Fi. As long as you have power, you could be printing there too, which is really awesome.
Makes it a lot more portable.
Yeah.
Okay, so since you're in the app, I thought maybe we could show a couple more things there because I'm seeing a question. That's just if I wanted to cut a shape, like maybe a heart from a page of book paper, say.
Yes.
How would I know what setting in the Spark to set it to? So we want to just walk them through that simple design process.
Sure.
We can show off a little bit of, we'll mention Nick has Glowforge Premium on his account right now. So everything that you're seeing, a lot of these fun design tools, those are Glowforge Premium tools. When you get your Glowforge, you'll get, I believe, a 2-week trial, and then you can extend that a little bit, and then you can decide if you want to continue with it. We've got, I think, an offer for $240 for the year, so it's about $20 a month if you pay for the whole year up front. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it's $50 a month. But it is quite a robust system. In addition to all of this design stuff Nick's going to show, we're also going to show our AI tool in a moment here. Mm-hmm. But also, you get designs and a lot of other like clip art and stuff. So there's quite a bit in there, and it can be really. I mean, for me, it makes using the Glowforge doable. I didn't bother to learn a design program this whole time I've been here, and so I'm a fan of Premium.
I think it's really good too. I mean, I am arguably an expert. I can design these things from scratch, but there are tools that they built into Premium that save me time. That basically roll multiple steps into one click. Things like making a stamp or making a puzzle, for exple, which is super convenient. I mean, time is money after all, right? That's the one thing we can't get more of.
Time in designing puzzles.
But those of you who are watching there may have seen what I did. I basically clicked on this plus button, which is our import artwork button. I typed in heart, since that's the example we gave. We have untold number of heart options that are in here, and we can pick any one of them at all, and we can click, and it will appear right on your design. And we can composite as many of these as we like into our design too. So you can build up an entire composition just using these little bits of clip art. And once they arrive, they're in here, they're clickable. You can resize them, you can copy and paste them, you can rotate them if you want to, like this.
And they don't have just simple things either. They have that clip art program has, I mean, you can type in anything and they've got it.
Yeah.
Like if you tuned into our last Spark stream, which was 2 weeks ago, we made these Taylor Swift themed wine charms, and all of those little Taylor Swift symbols were from this. Pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, just look at this plant one that I picked up here. This one is actually, let me set this to engrave so you can see it a little bit easier. But look how much detail's in there compared to the heart. And there is literally everything: sketchy styles, modern styles, iconography, all sorts of things, trending things, classic stuff.
I love it, and just different art styles of all of them too.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were talking about cutting a heart out of paper, I think, if that's right. So on our Spark, all we do is go to our artwork here. So we've got a heart that we use from Premium. You can import your artwork. Maybe if you're using something like the Cricut Design Studio, you can export an SVG and put that in here too.
Yep, that's an option.
And then we'll go up to our menu. Wow. We'll go up to our materials menu right here, and we'll search for the menu for the material that we're interested in using. In this case, it was paper, right? And we have a setting for 20-pound copy paper right here. And that will automatically apply
and
that
that's like
setting.
Your standard printer.
Yeah,
printer
it's
paper.
like your really flimsy, very thin paper.
Fax machine. Yeah.
Which is kind of cool, right? This one material. Wow, I need to like reset my brain or something. This one machine can be adjusted to cut through and engrave on copy paper, something that delicate, all the way up to things like plywood. Isn't that crazy to have that level of versatility with one machine? I mean, it blows me away. Anyway, I digress. So that setting is saved in the machine, and we can print it, and it will probably work just fine. Let's say it didn't. Let's say something didn't work out as you wanted. All we have to do is go into our cut setting here, hit this little arrow, and this is where we have the control to dial in that setting exactly how we like. Now, let's say, for example, it cut through with too much power and things were kind of charry. All we have to do is reduce our power like that. And then if we want, we can hit this plus button, and we can save this to custom paper setting or whatever you might like it to be. And that way, it's always going to be available in the future. Likewise, if it didn't cut through, but we're already at maximum power, what we could do is reduce the speed like this, so it's going a little bit slower. It's putting more energy into the material over time. Or we could change the number of passes to 2, so it basically goes around twice. And again, we can save that as paper cut 2 pass or something like this. And then it's always available for the future. And so you can see how quickly you can build up your own custom settings for your own materials, save them in the apps. They're always there for the future.
So if you bought like, one of those books that has, 200 pages of beautiful scrapbook paper and it's all kind of that thick texture, you could figure out your settings, save it, and then you know that that's going to work for the papers in that booklet that you bought. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I would say as well, as an I don't want to say I'm an expert. It sounds like I'm tooting my own horn too much, but I have spent a lot of time with these machines, and I will say that the Aura and the Spark are particularly good with paper.
Oh,
they are really very good. I don't know what it is about the laser, but it just cuts it so cleanly.
That's so nice. Beautiful. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So right. Our number 4 that we wanted to share with y'all is, believe it or not, the Aura and the Spark both can engrave high quality photo engraves. So I think that that's something that you think maybe, I don't know, it's slower or it's smaller. But no, the precision with which the diode laser can engrave is amazing. Oh, good. We have some examples. We have
an example here. Yeah, I just pulled out one. Unfortunately, I couldn't find another one right now. But this, I think, gives you a good indication of the kind of thing that you can do. And this was an image that I pulled from a stock website. This is not my grandparents, unfortunately, but they do look very happy.
They look so nice.
Right?
Yes.
I feel like they have a happy life and a nice house that they live in or something. But this was a pretty high quality image. And I would say that if you're looking to engrave photos, you want to use the best quality image that you can. Luckily, these days, our camera phones are really quite capable of this kind of thing. So you want good lighting and things like that. And try and get things that are high contrast as well. If everything's kind of the same color, if you imagine turning it black and white, it's all going to kind of look the same level of gray.
But dog having a tea
we
party.
Do also,
not a real photo.
Not a real photo.
But you know.
Similar level of detail and things like that. But as part of Premium, we do also have an image adjustment tool built into the app too. So when you upload your image in there, you can tweak things like contrast and brightness and sharpness. And you can also crop your image too, so you can get it just right.
Yeah, and photos we actually have a whole live stream or maybe more than one on engraving photos. So if you go to YouTube and look for photo engrave with Glowforge, we go through the whole process of how you might tweak the photo. So it is definitely something that you want to spend a little time tweaking and maybe print a small section of it to check that you like the results, because I've just seen beautiful photo projects.
Oh, some of them are really awesome.
Yeah.
Really incredible. I got 2 quick tips for you if you have time for photo engraves. If you're engraving on a dark material, something that's black, that goes white when you engrave it, invert your image. Otherwise, it's going to look weird.
Oh, yeah.
Basically, put it in your software and use the color invert option.
I was like,
The second
it
one,
looks like the horror.
yeah,
like,
it's really,
they look like
it's
a
bizarre.
happy family until
it took me like 3 weeks to realize why this photo looked weird. I'm like, what is wrong with this? Yeah, invert the image. That's handy. The second one, if you're doing some testing with a photo, don't just shrink your image down. That's not going to work very well. Crop it. Take a section of your image that's the same size as it would be if you printed the full thing. And if it's a person or an animal, pick the eyes. I find that if you can make the eyes look good, the rest of the photo looks generally pretty good too.
It's a good reference point. That's going to be the...
Exactly. So use that image adjustment tool, crop just the eyes, use that as your test. And if everything looks good and your settings are great and your material's working, print the full thing.
Love that. I love that tip. That also reminds me of the tip of reversing the clear acrylic engrave too. There's so many little, there's so many little fun tips for Glowforge stuff. Okay.
Oh, is that a good segue into the magic canvas thing then?
Yes.
Since we're talking about images and you showed up that adorable corgi tea party.
Definitely. Yeah, no, oh my gosh, the corgi tea party. Yeah, so one of our next, and we'll kind of keep showing the app a little bit here. Our next tip is that, or our next 7 things you should know about the Spark is that Spark works with all of the amazing tools that we built into our premium, including Magic Canvas. So Magic Canvas is an AI tool. We launched it sometime last year, but we've just been making it better and better. And oh my gosh, do we have those cards?
Yeah, there's a bunch of cards here. Yeah.
So Magic Canvas is much like an image generator tool that you might have played with, and we can kind of show it off where you can ask it to make, you a scene of dogs having a tea party, and it'll make you a bunch of different versions. You can choose the art style. So there's that. But then we've also incorporated now an ornament maker. So around the holidays, people were making really cool, really intricate cutout, almost like paper pop-up book looking sort of ornaments.
Doilies, if people know the term doily. Yeah. And I think the cool thing about all this artwork that's generated via AI is it's all totally unique too. Every single one is a unique thing. There'll never be one exactly like it again.
These are like cheese party invitations. We did these again for the
if you joined us 2 weeks ago, yeah,
and Nick made these using the card maker tool, and they're so cool. I mean, look at that. That for me, I could not design that, but I even think for a very apt designer, this would still take a while to design something like this. So it's really cool that this just kind of spat it out, and then you can kind of adjust it. And
I added the text with the text tool that's also built into the app there as well. I used the rectangle tool to create the shape of the cards. I drew a line for the fold and set that to a score so it could fold easily on the paper. So all of that was built in the app directly. No other design software needed.
Do you want to show that off a little bit?
Which is pretty cool. Yeah,
it's so cool. I've been enjoying it.
It's impressive. It really is. This is another one that I was just playing with earlier just to see what would happen. I typed in Fiat 500 with a wheel of cheese on the roof. Now, as many of you may know, some of these AI image generators are not the most reliable and consistent. You get some pretty wild results.
The 6 fingers on each hand.
But it only took 2 attempts to achieve this one, and I thought it was pretty good. That is a classic Fiat 500, and that is definitely a wheel of cheese on the roof. And you can type anything in here at all. And like Bailey mentioned, we have that create a card style here. We have the pendant style here, and that creates a design that you can cut as well as you engrave.
Yeah. So the other art styles are more just like engravable art. Yeah. And then the 2 new ones, the card and the pendant, ornament, those are cut lines as well, which to me, those are more exciting because it kind of makes the whole thing. So
absolutely.
Really neat.
Just here's an example of one done in the charcoal drawing style with that same thing. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's pretty good for something that was generated in 5 seconds or so. It admittedly is missing the wheel of cheese on the roof, but we can give it a pass.
It's so funny sometimes how it does that. It's like, whoa, almost nailed it. Okay.
But as soon as you generate one, you can just generate multiples too. If it's not quite right, just press make more magic and it'll make another one until you find the one that you like. And then as soon as you find the one you like, you can click it and incorporate it into your artwork. I've
seen some questions come in. I think this might be about can you personalize an ornament after it's been cut? Yes. So say that you chose an ornament design, you printed it, and then you wished that you had added a name or a year or something like that. Yes, because of the camera and the lid of Glowforge, as Nick was showing earlier when he was showing the bed, it it takes a photo of the bed of your Glowforge. You can see a real-time image of what's in there. So that makes adding text to an existing small item or really easy. You can just drag and adjust and everything. So that, if that's what you mean, yes.
Those cheese knives, for example, just
Yeah,
they're a good
oh, yeah.
example, right? If you didn't see the live stream a couple of weeks ago, you can watch that again on YouTube. But we actually engraved one of these cheese handles live. And I would say this is a pretty good analog to what you're describing. It's a small object. We were able to upload our design. Sorry, it's a bit small on the screen there.
I'm trying to exactly
drag and drop it into
there we
place
go.
and use a tool that we built into the app that was developed by our engineers called Set Focus, which basically precisely measures the material that you're putting in there to give you the most accurate print placement. And you can see how accurate that went and how well it went. And you could basically apply that same technique to your prints. And I mean, if you're a business person too, let's say you're starting off on a Glowforge journey, looking to maybe make a few dollars to offset the cost of your printer, you could absolutely print 50, 100 blank versions of an ornament and then offer those for sale on your website with customization. By the way, people pay a premium for customization.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
definitely a good thing to do.
Gosh.
And when the orders come in, just take that pre-printed ornament, stick it back in your Glowforge, add that customization, and get it out the door. And that way, most of the work is all done in advance. You can ship things to your customers really quickly, which, of course, we know everybody wants that these days. Charge a premium for it, too. And the result is awesome.
Yes, personalization is everything. I love the idea of doing it on the scene. I've seen that a few places in real life, and I'm delighted. Getting some requests to see some more things. So, okay, well, a few questions. Will it cut fabric? Yes. In terms of cutting fabric, again, we want to stick with really natural materials. So things like cotton-based things, cotton-based denim, felt, canvas. I saw specifically somebody asked about etching on canvas. Yes, you could actually engrave like a canvas bag or something like that to customize it, which is super cool. And leather, which Nick has grabbed a couple things that he made. So this is was made for a different project. Oh wait, this like
it slides, yeah. So this is all totally made on Glowforge, by the way. That is a wooden belt buckle that I miniaturized. It's actually a design that's in the catalog that I used to make a clasp for this. This is proof grade leather that I dyed with an off-the-shelf dye in an oxblood color. And we added, of course, some initials here onto the clasp. And then inside, you've got a few different pockets. We've got that hexagon pattern that kind of ties into our Glowforge Personal Series branding. And I made this with a big pocket in the back for your phone, so it could be a clutch for going out, a few places for cards. And it also has a little pocket in the front for an affirmation. So every time you open your wallet, you can see some nice words about yourself. But yeah, leather works great with Glowforge Pro Plus or Spark. Lots of fabrics do too. Bailey actually mentioned the word cauterize earlier, which is very appropriate right now because there are some synthetic fabrics that are safe to cut with lasers. And when you cut them, the heat actually seals the edge so they don't fray.
Yeah.
There's a lot of companies who make things like technical messenger bags and stuff that use lasers for cutting their panels for the exact reason. So super cool.
What I just put down in front of the close-up cam are these like leather patch kits. So Nick made these as an example of something you might make and sell. So he did the packaging as well. So this one, so each of these has a patch that's made of proof grade leather that he's engraved, and he's also made the stitch holes because as any leather worker will tell you, which Nick was a leather worker before Glowforge, the sewing part and the stitch hole making part is one of the more tedious and painful parts of leatherworking. So if you can just use a Glowforge to make the stitch holes, now this can just be sewed onto your backpack or cap or whatever it is. So two different types of packaging here. This one is made of a maple plywood, and this one is made of cardboard, which is a really, I get way too many packages to my house all week. I always have cardboard around. So really cool, kind of eco-friendly material to use. And I mean, we've also done a stream on making stuff with cardboard. You can make kids' toys and costumes and all sorts of stuff with cardboard. So don't forget about it. But these are just really, really fun. And on this note, on making things to sell, Glowforge is obviously an amazing business tool. We have hundreds and thousands of examples of people who have made everything from like a little side hustle to a full-blown company that is powered by Glowforge and that employs like them and their spouse and another person. Like, it's amazing what people have done. I would say that we did make our Pro series for the business people. So if you are considering a Aura or a Spark, I just want you to keep in mind they are considerably slower. So your production time on each item that you sell is going to be considerably more. And so it's always an equation of how much time are you going to spend on each item, how much can you sell it for. So I do think though that if you want to get into laser cutting, and maybe selling things is maybe something you want to do, but you're not like there that you want to spend the $6,000 on the Pro yet. Maybe the Aura or the Spark is a good way for you to like test out the idea, try out a couple prototypes of these, think about, and then, ask your friends in the Glowforge community how long it would take you to create this on the Pro, because the Pro is so much faster. So I think what I'm saying is that the diode lasers are great for kind of trying out, getting your feet wet with learning laser cutting and prototyping some possible selling items, but probably for a full-blown business, you're going to want to go with the Pro Series machine.
Yeah, I would agree.
That's what we keep hearing. So
it's true. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, all the experience that we've had here, it is night and day faster than the Pro and than the Aura and the Spark, but of course, it is a lot more expensive too. So we've got to weigh up those benefits.
Show the knife and the stamp. Okay, we're giving the people what they want. Okay.
Actually, so stamps are another material that we haven't talked about yet, which, as crafters, we all know how expensive a rubber stamp is. We all know how expensive a custom rubber stamp is. But did you know that if you have a laser at home, you could create your own custom rubber stamps very, very easily? There is even a custom rubber stamp tool built into Glowforge Premium, which will take your artwork, it will invert it, so it basically creates a negative of the stamp, and it will flip it too. I don't know about you, but if you've tried to make a stamp before, almost guarantee that the first time you did it, you forgot to flip your artwork. So when you stamped, everything was backwards.
Same thing with the t-shirt making.
Right, exactly.
I do know our CEO thought he was so funny on our Aura launch day. He came in, he'd made himself a homemade t-shirt with the new t-shirt material, and he had forgotten to flip it, and so he made it completely backwards and wore it into work backwards. Which what a guy!
I mean, way to own the mistake, right? Own the mistake. But the laser safe stamp making material, you can buy it online very inexpensively. It comes in sort of US letter size sheets, 8x11. We don't unfortunately offer that as a proof grade material, but it does work really well with all of our materials. It is a bit messy, I will say.
It kind of turns into dust.
Yeah. So you
rubber
just
dust.
Be aware. It doesn't smell that great either, but I would say that the results are probably worth it.
You'll be familiar with this model. Bring you right back to like third grade classroom.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've also used that rubber for different things too. I've made tires for toy cars and things like that as well, because you can cut it with the laser. But it is really great material.
Okay, and I actually think that was our next point was the number 6 thing we wanted to mention is just that Spark can make super giftable things like the stamps. Like these are so good for like a wedding present, or if somebody's opening a new side hustle or whatever, just something to like commemorate an exciting thing, or just a holiday stamp or
maybe
whatever
they moved, so you need to make them a return address label stamp, that kind of thing.
Or puzzles. That's another I know really popular, especially for kids. There's actually a puzzle making tool. And then just personalizing things like next time you walk into a craft store, or even just like a big box store like a Walmart or anything like that, you'll notice there's a lot of blanks, which are or found objects as we call them, which are things like this. This is a big giant one. I can get this over here. This is
not blank anymore.
Slate.
Shall I take some of that stuff away from you? I feel like
a lot of stuff over here. We've got a slate coaster, or actually this is like a whole cheese board. So it's big. You can see, compared to my hand, but they also make these in coaster size, and like they make them square and all different ones, but slate engraves beautifully. It's so good. Look at that. So this is in my fromage era. And this is so fun, so giftable. Again, if you're like a realtor and you wanted to make little custom presents for your clients when they buy the house, things like that, this super giftable. It's really smart to just keep a couple, engravable found objects on hand. Like in my little craft area, I've got a couple frames and stuff like that. And I have definitely made like last minute panicked, forgot to go to the store. And then I look like, wow, I made something by hand and it was custom to you. And
I know. It's like a dirty feeling, isn't it? Like you made the best gift, but it only took you 3 minutes and you didn't really think about it at all.
So that's like a hot tip. Keep a couple of those on hand, and then you will be able to just whip out a gift in a matter of minutes. And that's really awesome.
Yeah. Also, if you live near a tile store by any chance, any place that sells like granite and quarry stuff and things like that, go in and ask for some samples or broken pieces or just individual tiles. A lot of that stuff engraves really beautifully on these machines.
We know because
you get it for pennies.
The original Glowforge office is down in the industrial district of Seattle, and it's right next to like all of these like espresso machine supply stores and tile and stuff like that. And so we've gone
Yeah,
in
just
there
walk down and be
asked,
like, hi, this is weird, but we make lasers. Do you have tiles? Thank you.
which laser tiles do you have? All right.
One other quick thing, if it's all right, Bailey. We're talking about making gifts. Now, of course, you can make the gift with any of the Glowforge models, but you could also make the box. I mean, packaging, for example, here.
Gosh, that's right.
This is just a design that we found in the Glowforge catalog. It prints perfectly. It pops together. I actually found it a little tricky to do up that one.
I was going to say,
but anyway,
don't ask me to close it again.
It is very easy to do. You can create the packaging. You can create a tag too. I mean, here I took this same design, which was our backpack keychain. I just simplified it and added a hole to create a tag. We can tie that to a gift. We've already shown the card, so you can make a card to go with your gift too. So you could literally make everything from the gift to the packaging, to the tag, to the card that accompanies the gift, to the stamp that goes on the envelope or the box that you use to ship the thing. It's kind of amazing how deep you can go if you really want to.
It's so good. I guess we're getting a lot of questions on TikTok specifically about back to the filter. So
okay.
Here's the deal with ventilating your laser. You got to do it. So whether your laser will come with basically like a dryer hose.
Yeah, I can show you.
Like will come with an AC unit or something like that. The personal series are cute and white. The Pro series are like the aluminum ones, a little more heavy duty looking. But you can just toss the other. So you hook one end up to your Glowforge, and you can toss the other end out the window. So it's venting outdoors. That's one option. If you can't do that though, we've made the personal filter. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. So yeah, this is the hose. This comes with every Glowforge. With the Aura and the Spark, you get this really nice white one, which is cool with these silicone fittings that just friction fit onto the back of the machine right there.
I need one of those.
And then this here just pops right on top of the filter like that and creates a nice perfect seal.
If you had both your hands, that would have been even easier.
Yeah, that would have been even easier. You're right. Thanks for noticing, Bailey. Telling me well. And then, like we said before, this machine here, the personal filter, connects to your Glowforge Aura or Spark via Bluetooth. So when you send a print to your Glowforge Aura or Spark, the filter knows and it turns on and off automatically when you start the print, which is really cool. It also has a replaceable cartridge in here too. We just pop the top off with magnets. Cartridge is right there. You just lift it out, drop in a new one when it's been consumed, and you are ready to go again. There's no other fussing that you need to do. It's really easy.
I see Paul in the chat asking if he can use the Spark outdoors and use it without a filter. Yes, in theory, I would still personally use the hose to direct it away from me is what I would do.
Yeah. So you can basically take into account the wind direction and use the hose to steer the fumes so it's not going in anybody's face. But yeah, you could do that. One top tip, if you're using it outside, if it's really sunny and the sun's coming in through the lid here, sometimes that can wash out the camera that's there. So you might just want to keep either a shade or just a piece of material you can pop over the top for the best results.
Yeah. Just
top tip from experience there.
Okay, we're at 11:57, so we've been on here for almost an hour, which is awesome. Still a lot of questions coming in. I know we throw a lot at you with like, here's the different types of lasers, and here's the different things they can do, and how they're differently fast and differently big and differently small. If you're trying to decide which Glowforge is going to be right for you, you can schedule up a demo with one of our experts, and they will go through it with you either on the phone or on a video chat. They can show you videos of the machines. They can, if you have examples of the type of print and projects that you're interested in doing, the materials, they can walk you through the viability of those and the time that they might take, things like that. So if you look in the chat right now, it's either already there or it will be a link that you can schedule a call like that. And again, our seventh tip actually is that the Spark, wow, lost the name there. The Glowforge Spark is, again, it's on pre-sale right now. So it's our most affordable laser yet by quite a bit. And it's on pre-sale for an additional $100 off. So you can get it for $5.99 right now through April 4th. After that, it'll be $6.99. And we do offer financing as well. So we were, right before this stream, just talking about the various things we finance lately. So it's a great option if you want to pay monthly. And it just takes some of the pressure off if you've been dreaming about getting Glowforge. This is like the most affordable it's been. I think some of those financing options are like around $20 a month. So, I mean, that's really awesome.
Less than your phone payment.
Reasonable
probably, right?
for a hobby, which I think is great. I get it that sometimes it feels tough to spend a lot of money on your hobby. Absolutely. I'm buying stuff for my garden right now. I'm like, oh, don't talk to me how much each individual tomato is going to be. I don't want to hear it, but it's fun. We gotta enjoy our hobbies and our passions.
Absolutely. So, yeah. Invest in yourself, right?
If you've already placed a Spark pre-order and you have questions or concerns, you can definitely get in touch with us. I would do support@glowforge.com for that. And they'll be able to, access your order information if you're worried about you need to update a shipping address or whatever it is. You just have more questions about the Spark. Feel free to reach out to us there. Same thing if you are wanting to upgrade, you bought a Spark, but you're wishing you would have got an Aura, you're wishing you would have got a Pro. It hasn't shipped yet, so we may be able to help you out. So again, reach out to support that way. Let's see. I'm just seeing if there's anything super important that we didn't quite get to.
I'm scrolling this through. I do see one question that we didn't answer, which is the thickest wood that it can cut.
Oh, yes.
In general, these machines will cut through 1/4 inch material.
Yes.
So about 6.5 millimeters, something along those lines. You might be able to do slightly thicker than that, depending on the specific wood, but say 1/4 inch is a good benchmark. And that's both for the Aura and the Spark, as well as the Pro and the Plus.
So I just want to quickly go through the 7 things again, so that in case if you were here the whole time, impressive. If you just joined for part of it, here's what you might have missed. So 7 things we talked about were that, number one, Glowforge Spark is a diode laser, so different than the CO2 laser. So again, if you're choosing between a Pro laser like the Pro or Plus or a personal laser like the Aura and the Spark, big difference there. So make sure that you're clear on that. Number 2, it's our smallest Glowforge ever, so it's really light. I think it's 11 pounds. It's really portable, and you can bring it to personalize things at events or parties or whatnot. Doesn't take up too much space in your house, which is awesome. Yeah. Number 3, like all Glowforge printers, it works with hundreds of materials, even acrylic. We showed a acrylic demo, which was really cool. We know that's a very popular material right now. It can engrave high quality. So we showed some photos. We showed that gorgeous knife. It works with our AI tool, Magic Canvas. That's how we made the greeting card, and just some really cool, unique art every time, generating a brand new image that's never been seen before. And it can make super giftable things like puzzles and stamps with those premium tools we showed, or just personalizing everything that you own. Many things in my life have been the correlation of working at Glowforge and the number of personalized things in my life. Yeah.
And that can be giftable stuff, but it could be utilitarian too.
Oh, yeah.
Drawer labels, simple things like that. They're really expensive to buy.
Yeah.
Make them yourself at home.
Exactly. And then last, that it's our most affordable laser ever, and it's even more affordable right now while it's on pre-sale. So if you're thinking about getting a Glowforge Spark, hopefully we answered a bunch of questions here today, but feel free to get a hold of us. Support@glowforge.com about your current order. Or if you're wanting more hands-on one-to-one questions and answers and stuff, get with one of our experts in that link that's hopefully in chat.
Absolutely.
If you can't find it in chat, or you're watching this from TikTok, or you're watching this from Facebook 3 days later and you're confused, just go to glowforge.com and hop on the chat bot, and you should be able to find a way to book a demo that way. So.
And all of these live streams, this one, the previous ones, and everything that we've ever done is still available on YouTube. So you can go back through our catalog. There's got to be 60 live streams or something like that up there now.
Of them.
It's quite a lot. Some of them are hyper niche, get into the weeds of things like photo engraving. Some of them are much more high level, like this one. But feel free to browse. We'll also schedule another live stream soon. Not sure exactly what the topic's going to be like that, but if you have ideas or suggestions, let us know. Leave them in the comments of this particular live stream and let us know what you want to see. What else have we got? Oh yeah, keep an eye out on our social media accounts as well. We'll be posting new things there. It's also a great place to ask questions.
Yes.
We have people monitoring those all the time that can get back to you.
Cool. Well, thanks for being here today.
Yeah.
Lots of questions, lots of answers.
That was great.
And I hope that y'all found this helpful, and we will see you next time.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Bye.
Bye.